Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News at 5 o'clock. I'm Tom Sherry. Mark and Whitney are off this evening. As you know, it's been a mix of weather this holiday weekend, so we want to head on over to meteorologist Michelle Boss to help you get ready for the rest of the week.
Yeah, always fun to forecast under these conditions. Talked about just a few sprinkles, and if you take the observations from the Spokane airport, 1/100 of an inch is all the rainfall that we saw today. So sure, that forecast verified, but out at my house, it poured, and I bet it poured for some of you out in other parts of the inland Northwest. So kind of just depends on where you were. But for everybody, the precipitation should start to be winding down as we take a look at satellite and radar. I think Spokane's going to be in the clear for the rest of the evening. If you want to head out to pick out in the park, get some food, kind of zooming in on the activity up to the north from my own to Bonner's Ferry. Still seeing some more moderate showers. Those continue to move generally from west to east, but are starting to weaken and kind of wind down as the evening progresses. A closer look at Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, you can see most of that activity has now shifted to the north. Temperature-wise, of course, the clouds and the showers kept us on the cool side, but we did make it into the lower 70s. I think our high temperature is our current temperature of 71, where they're still seeing some wet weather in the 60s. Drier weather, upper 70s in Moses Lake, 79 in Othello. Lewiston's checking in at 73. But again, should be dry for the rest of the evening. Partly cloudy skies overnight. Temperatures dropping down to the low 50s and looking pretty good for the rest of the week. We got partly cloudy conditions and highs in the mid 70s.
Thank you, Michelle. In our top stories this evening, police have arrested a 24-time convicted felon for allegedly stabbing a man to death in downtown Spokane last weekend. 46-year-old Stephen White faces a charge for first-degree murder. Detectives recovered several pieces of evidence in their investigation, including video showing what looked like an unprovoked assault. Spokane PD says the victim was stabbed more than a dozen times. SPD says White had an active arrest warrant from the Department of Corrections at the time of that stabbing. And we have learned the identity of the suspect for a deadly shooting in Spokane Valley over the weekend. A man reportedly walked into the Jack in the Box on Argonne yesterday, bleeding from his chest. First responders tried to help the man for what appeared to be gunshot wounds. Well, he ended up dying at the scene. Now, according to Spokane Valley Police Department, authorities arrested 46-year-old Jason Barton for first-degree murder for that shooting. The victim's name has not yet been released. Well, today marks 1 year since a deadly float plane crash off Whidbey Island. The 10 people on board were killed, including Spokane civil rights activist Sandy Williams and her partner, Patricia Hicks. Well, a year after the tragedy, federal investigators are releasing more findings. This new video shows the plane flying through the sky as it starts to descend. Zoomed in from another angle, the plane is seen appearing to fall from the clouds as it nosedives into the water. Now, we're pausing the video before the moment of actual impact. This new data shows the flight was uneventful until the last 8 seconds, when the plane abruptly pitched up and then straight down. The NTSB says a missing lock ring that helps control the plane's elevation may have caused the crash. Last month, Williams' estate and several other families have now filed 3 lawsuits against several companies involved in the production and operation of that seaplane. The lawsuit alleges the companies should have inspected the plane properly. Well, in the years since Sandy's passing, we've shared stories from her family, friends, and fellow local leaders. She was a trailblazer for the Black community and an advocate for equality. KREM 2's Janelle Finch joins us in the studio to tell us how Spokane has cemented her memory over the last year.
The news of Sandy's death brought many to tears, but at Sandy's memorial service last September, people encouraged those in pain to use their tears as fuel to continue Sandy's mission. Today, people are honoring her legacy and carrying on her efforts toward a more equitable Spokane. People who knew Sandy Williams knew she wanted the best for her community.
She was very dedicated to changing the trajectory of Black folks in this community. And how do you do that? You do that providing resources with education, understanding the culture.
She founded Spokane's first Black newspaper and spearheaded the development of the Carl Maxey Center as the executive director.
Her vision is just extraordinary.
These are some of the reasons why her death 1 year ago left such a hole in Spokane. Even today, her friend Dr. Sherry Williams Clark says her shoes are impossible to fill.
She really touched people, and it was in such a real, original way. I don't think that will ever happen again here. because it was with Sandy.
While there may never be another Sandy Williams, her friends are making sure her vision lives on. Williams-Clark is making it a part of her personal mission to continue Sandy's legacy.
Coming in as executive director is just a real honor for me. I am working in purpose, and this is my passion.
She says becoming the Karl Maxey Center executive director connects her to Sandy in a new way.
I'm coming into her space every single day, and I'm so honored to be here. I really am.
She says the center will continue to provide a safe, cultural, and equal space for Black people, all in the name of Sandy Williams.
I'm just hoping to carry on and to build programs and have resources and services that reflect what her vision was.
Sandy is memorialized in the Sandy Williams Justice Center, which offers free walk-in legal clinics at the Karl Maxey Center, a New America Credit Union scholarship at Eastern Washington, and an Innovia $60,000 endowment fund also hold her name. Sandy Williams would have been 62 next Wednesday. In the studio, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Well, you can watch more about Sandy Williams' life and legacy right now on KREM 2+. Sandy's story is streaming on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.